Hey there friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and today I want to go over some things you should know before jumping into Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 for the very first time. And these things should help you save some time, energy, and effort, as they are not explicitly told to you by the game, but will be very helpful. Now, first and foremost, you're going to start the game off with the campaign. The campaign is interesting because it provides 4 different difficulty levels to start with, and you can decide which one you want to choose. But one important thing to remember is that you don't get any rewards for completing the campaign on higher difficulties. And not only that, but you also don't upgrade your classes or weapons by proceeding through the campaign. So if you just want to get to the PvP and also the co-op missions, then playing at max difficulty and frustrating yourself with the campaign might not necessarily be the best route for you. Now, if you want a challenge, Veteran is rather difficult, and the max difficulty is also incredibly hard, mostly because if you are playing it solo, the AI companions you have are not great. They don't often help with not only clearing ads, but also doing the objective. And sometimes they'll just straight up wander off if you get downed and need to be revived. And they won't get to you in time, which is kind of crazy. But overall, the difficulty you choose does not matter in the long run. There's no trophy associated with doing it at a harder difficulty. There's no rewards, nothing like that. So if you want to do it on the easiest difficulty and proceed through, that is definitely something that I think a lot of people would be interested in. Or maybe not even the easiest difficulty, because it does feel a little bit too easy at times. But normal or veteran are just fine. You don't have to go for max difficulty. Also keep in mind that the co-op missions, a lot of them are locked behind completing the campaign as well, and that's really where you're going to start seeing progression in the game. So when you get to the co-op missions, that's where you start upgrading your classes. That's where you can start upgrading your weapons and also diving into the skill trees of your various classes as well. Now, you can do the same thing in PvP also. There is some carryover there, so if you're leveling up a class, you can use it in either PvE or PvP, which is nice to know, because if you prefer one or the other, you don't ever have to go into PvE if you're a PvP player outside of some certain upgrade materials. And if you're a PvE only player, you don't want to play PvP, there isn't a mandatory reason to go into PvP. It's just a side mission there that you can do if you so choose. So I think that's very, very nice, and something to keep in mind, especially as you're trying to make progress through the various difficulties. Now, the difficulty once you are doing the co-op missions between level 1 to level 4 is pretty extreme. Just like in the campaign, there is a large jump in difficulty as you go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4. Now, I found that 1 and 2 are not bad, especially if you have a pre-made team, but once you get to 3 and 4, that's when the struggle really begins. So you really want to focus on upgrading the class as well as the items, the weapons that you are going to be using first and foremost, because initially you'll have limited resources to upgrade them, and while you are going through tiers 1 and 2, you want to be really focusing on a certain setup, in my opinion, if you don't want to spend a lot of time on those difficulties. If you want to proceed through to level 3 difficulty, and once you do that, that is when you're going to get the most rewards. So you kind of want to get there as soon as possible. However, if you just enjoy going through levels 1 and 2 and you want to use other classes, level them up, and get additional resources that way, that's perfectly fine. There's really no right way to play the game. However, if you do want to be efficient, then you're going to want to hyper focus on a setup that works for you, because the damage you do and the damage you receive, some of the healing you get, all of that is changed dramatically as you start upgrading your skill trees. So I think people forget how important that is ultimately going to be, and they're wondering why they don't do any damage whatsoever. All the enemies feel very, very tanky. It's because they haven't upgraded their stuff, and they just are not doing nearly enough damage that they need to. Now, don't be afraid if you are struggling on a certain difficulty to drop it down. In the campaign, you can go back to the main area, the main hub, and drop the difficulty at any time. And during the other missions, you can select lower difficulties if that's going to help you continue to make progress and enjoy the game, rather than trying a mission over and over and over again. This is especially true as you are playing, if you jump in with random teammates through matchmaking, because oftentimes what can happen, you'll get stuck on a certain mission at a certain difficulty, and you'll just bang your head against the wall because you want to finish it, but you maybe don't have a crew. Now, as far as adding people to the game, this is something that I think people have missed out on. Is in order for people to join your team in this game, there isn't a friend list, a crossplay friends list, as you might expect right away that's working. I know on PlayStation it was down, but you can invite people through invite codes. So if you have folks online or friends who you want to join your squad, or maybe you link up with players in the random co-op matchmaking, you can have them join your team through the invite codes, and this will allow you to essentially form up squads, because there is voice chat, crossplay voice chat as well within the co-op missions that you can utilize if you have a microphone. So I think all of that will lend itself to a little bit of community building and finding other people who are playing the game at your level, and then you can make progress together. This is also extremely helpful because when you are doing the co-op missions, you can only run one of each class, and so this can be a bit of a problem if you've only upgraded the one class and then other people are using the class that you want to use. Now, if you are running with a dedicated team, obviously you can each choose a class and build a squad around that, whereas with randoms you're going to have multiple classes that you're going to want to be upgraded. And that leads me to my final point. Some of the weapons are usable by all or most of the classes. The bolt pistol, for example, is utilized across the board pretty much, and so if you upgrade that, the crossover upgrade carries from one class to the next. So if I upgrade my bolt pistol, then I can use it on my assault and on my heavy, so it doesn't matter which class I'm using if I want to upgrade that. If you upgrade, for example, the Thunder Hammer, not every class is using that, so it's going to be a more specialized pick, so you won't be able to switch classes and still have that upgrade as something that is working out for you. So overall, I think this is a game that has a lot of things that can be missed, and it can be surprisingly difficult with the parry system, the dodging, and all that kind of good stuff. So if you are struggling, then definitely try to take it down a notch if need be in order to not get extremely frustrated with the game. But go out and enjoy yourself. I know this game is a lot of fun, in my opinion. There's a lot of things to do, to grind for, and to earn. So I find that to be awesome. And I'm really looking forward to making some builds and testing some new things out, new ways to play different classes that I think could really shine in situations where you might not expect. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Space Marine 2 content going forward. My name is Jopa. Have a good one. I'll catch you all later.